Hi everyone, welcome back to GM Details, and this video is about Garage Therapy's wax Alpha. I've already made a first impressions video with this wax, applying it to my test panel and leaving it outside in the elements to monitor its environmental exposure and have a play around with chemical deterioration. I'll put a link to that video in the description. It's worthwhile checking out after this one, of course. So with any wax application, prep is key for the wax to bond to the paint surface without any contamination preventing it curing and prematurely failing. So that has been done already, as you can see. I stopped at a chemical decontamination as the paint felt smooth enough, and you don't just attack your clear coat with a clay mitt or a clay bar without polishing, and today on this application I really don't have time to polish. After the car was as clean as possible through the chemical wash process and dried off, I thought I'd try the new Garage Therapy panel wipe. That ensures there's no fingerprint oils, or if you've polished it, ensures there's no polishing oils left behind that could also prevent the wax from bonding to the surface. Check on the weather too, as with some waxes, if it's in direct sun or it's too warm, then it can cause problems too. But it's late afternoon, panels are cool. With having a white car as a bonus here, it doesn't absorb as much heat as a dark coloured car. Perfect. So I'm assuming that you all have an idea of how to apply a wax using a foam applicator. It's completely different from applying a spray sealant in that carnauba wax is a natural product. In its raw state, it's solid, so it needs a carrier to deliver the wax over the paint, which then hazes and is removed after a determined time, leaving the wax to cure over hours, sometimes days. This wax takes 3 to 5 minutes to haze over, as the instructions on the label states, and when you're trying to make a video on a product, you do tend to forget about time, and the length of time this was on the panel did exceed 5 minutes, which generally wouldn't be a problem for most waxes. Not this one. The longer you leave it, the harder it is to remove, so you only have a very short window to get it right. It's tricky, but not overly complicated. You just can't wax all of your car and come back and buff it off. Some people dislike this method as it takes a lot longer, but I'll tell you now, before we go any further, it's well worth the effort, which you will soon see later on in the video. You need a low pile microfiber cloth to remove the hazing, and then follow up with a premium microfiber buffing cloth afterwards. You can even use a spray of quick detailer to help if you've left any on a bit too long. Now, I'm not singing this wax's praises because it was sent to me free of charge. I've had many issues with it: frustration, anger, and eventually enjoyment. Don't try and tame it. It's got its own way and you ain't changing it, no matter what you do. It's a stubborn old mule, but persevere and it will reward you. So I'm sure some of you will want to know, what issues have I had? Well, you're seeing the first issue here, that it dries or hazes just a little bit too quick. After the clouds cleared, I was dealing with late spring evening sun here, and it wasn't coming off as easy as some less expensive waxes I'd used. So I wasn't seeing the value of it right here. It's also not the slickest either, as the cloths are almost digging in rather than gliding over the surface. But here's where this turns. Remember the EZ graphene wax video where there was a major issue after buffing the wax off? I tried contacting EZ Car Care and they weren't interested. Garage Therapy do care, very much so. They want you to enjoy their products, and Maz has been very interested in these initial user experiences. And instead of blaming the user like some brands, alright, Maz did tell me off for leaving it on too long, but without his help with the product, I'd be very reluctant to try it again. I tried different applicators and different amounts of wax on the pads, and I just wasn't enjoying the application at all. I don't know if it was the panel wipe, the wax, or maybe even the bonnet itself. It even flipped the applicator right out my hand at one point. Very frustrating. My perseverance paid off though in the end, like I said. Is it worth the hassle? Keep watching to find out. Well, I think this certainly qualifies as worth all the effort, don't you? It's £40 for an 85 gram pot of this incredible wax, and that will last a while. You need so very little of it on your applicator, and look, the water repellency is incredible. But any new applied wax will look great after the first application. Garage Therapy say that this wax will give you a possible 6 months longevity from a single application. Is that possible? It's hard to say though how long something will last based on how it was applied. Even the condition of the paint it was applied to can have an effect on longevity. So if you're going to buy this wax, then it's well worth taking the time to at least chemically decontaminate the paint before applying it. I've been monitoring the condition of the wax since being applied at the beginning of June, and it's now the beginning of December, so it's now past its 6 months claimed lifespan, and it hasn't been topped with so much as a quick detailer. Washed at least once a month, and it still beads and sheets very well. I'd say about 20% less than the day it was applied, and that could even be improved with another decon wash possibly. Here I'm rinsing off a month's worth of dirt. My car covers roughly 100 motorway miles a month, so again that's a factor to consider when longevity is concerned. If you cover more miles, then it's unlikely you're going to get the same results as me. When I applied the wax, I didn't have time to coat the whole car, so Garage Therapy Sigma V2 was applied to the doors, roof and boot. Alpha wax is evidently still protecting well, where Sigma looks to have died off. So we're now into the end of September with this clip, and sheeting is still amazing. I wish I could show you when it rains and you're driving. The water just flows up and off the bonnet like an inverted waterfall, and after the water settles you're rewarded with some pretty nice looking beads, testament to the hydrophobic nature of this wax. Last photos, and beads aren't as round, but it's another month on since the last wash, and one point worth mentioning is its ability to stay cleaner looking. It won't stop traffic film building up, but I've used some protection products that just seem to attract dirt, and alpha wax isn't one of them. The only issue I did have was when I was cleaning bugs off the front of the car in the summer, not long after I had applied the wax, and I used Garage Therapy Zero Decon shampoo at 10:1 dilution versus Built Hamber Surfex HD. Zero Decon shampoo seemed to remove the wax completely. Surfex cleaned the bugs without any visible deterioration of the wax. On that one test anyway, and that's really the only negative point to it, as far as I have noted anyway. It's a brilliant addition to the Garage Therapy line of products, and I'd only hope that in the not too distant future the wax can be developed into a more user friendly product, well, for application anyway, but keeping longevity a key factor. So that's my findings with it anyway. I hope you've enjoyed the video and it's been of some help to you. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Take care. Cheery bye.